Good morning, everyone. My name is Simon Fenyani from Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. I'm joined today by our senior legal advisor from Corporate Legal, Ms. Lucinda Steenkamp, and also Mr. Ruzane Mahwasani from our communication business unit. So welcome to today's webinar on beneficial ownership. So before we talk about beneficial ownership, as CIPC, we introduced what we call a LEN IBs. LEN IBs is to assist the existing SMMEs, company directors, with knowledge and duties and responsibilities. As a director, there are, some responsibilities once you register a company. So we encourage that anyone who's interested, to enroll for this course. This course is available on our website and then is free of charge. And then you can do it on your own time. Finish the course, and then after each and every module, you will receive a certificate. So for more information, you can contact us at education@cipc.co.za. So let's just talk about this beneficial ownership. One can ask what a beneficial ownership is. So in respect of a company, it means an individual who directly or indirectly ultimately owns that company or exercise effective control of that company. So including the holding of a beneficial interest in the security. Some of these people, or not even the directors, they actually exercise of control. Some, they also have the voting rights. And then some they have powers to appoint or to remove directors. And then some, obviously, they have the ability to otherwise materially influence the management of the company. So those are some of the people, or shareholders, not even the directors. Most of these people who are actually benefiting from the companies, not only about some securities. It's not only about the whether a person is a shareholder of a company, but some of the people, they play a very important part in the company. So let's just quickly also look at this beneficial ownership. So on these slides, I'm not going to explain each and every beneficial ownership, but we have a number of beneficial ownership on these slides. For example, we have some shareholders. We also have the board of appointments, and then we have some who have these voting rights. We also have some those who have influence, who are influential in the company. Some of these people are trustees, some are directors, and then some, they have this profit sharing agreement in the company. And then lastly is employment of asset. Now let's look at the affected company. So what is affected company? So it means a regulated company as set out in section 11 subsection 7 Roman figure 1, as well as the companies to which affected transactions and offers and the takeover regulation apply, determined in accordance with section 118 subsection 1 and subsection 2, but we'll clarify it in the next slides. So, for example, affected companies therefore includes a public company. It can be a listed or unlisted company. It also includes state-owned companies, except in the case of exemption by the minister, and then a private company in terms of the transfer of securities when exiting the percentage prescribed by the minister, within a 24 period. And then some of these the private companies that are controlled by affected companies, they control or exercise the majority of the voting rights, or appoint or control the appointment of directors who control the majority of the voting and board meetings in a subsidiary. So some of these private companies, these are the ones that are actually controlled by this affected company, but not all private companies. So let's just look at the examples of private companies, as affected companies. These are the private companies that are actually, controlled by the affected companies. Affected companies meaning the examples that I've gave. Your state-owned companies, your public companies. Those are the ones that fall under this category of affected companies. Company A declaring a private company is controlled by company B, which is the affected company due to B being able to exercise or control exercise of the majority voting rights, meaning that B has control over company A, that is the affected company, which is who has the control over A. They can also appoint or elect or control the appointment of election of directors of a company A, who control the majority voting rights at a board meeting. So now company A declaring a private company is a subsidiary of company B, which is the affected company, meaning that company B owns 51% of the company A as issued as securities. So I hope this one is also clear, because these are just some of the examples of private companies which are controlled by the affected companies. So let's just look at examples of being considered as a affected company. So now it says that the transaction or series of transactions done by the regulated company, that is your public, your state-owned private company, amounting to the disposal of all the greater part of assets of the company. Secondly, amalgamation or merger where at least one regulated company is involved. And then thirdly, scheme of arrangement between a regulated company and its shareholders. Fourthly, acquisition or disposal of beneficial interest in the voting securities of a regulated company of 5% or more. And then lastly, that announce intention to acquire a beneficial interest in the remaining voting securities of a regulated company not already held. So now we have three categories here. First, first one, we have a non-affected company with beneficial ownership information companies that are not classified as affected companies and have beneficial ownership information to declare. That is a standard beneficial register requirement. And then secondly, we have affected company. Companies classified as affected companies, whether beneficial ownership to declare or not upload mandatory document, no beneficial ownership is completed. And then thirdly, we have a non-affected company without a beneficial ownership information. Companies not classified as affected companies with zero beneficial owners, and then upload of mandatory documentation. So now in order to guide on the correct process to follow, each entity must answer two questions before you even start filing beneficial ownership. Now, the first one is that a company must ascertain whether it is an affected company or non-affected company as per the definition of the legislation, in the legislation. So secondly, once the question is answered, the company must ascertain whether it holds any beneficial ownership as per the definition provided in the Act. Now, certain criteria can be applied when ascertaining whether a beneficial ownership is applicable to to an entity or not, including the 5% threshold. Ownership members of a non-profit company are not necessarily the owners. That is, they derives any benefit from the company. And then secondly, board of the directors exercise effective control. If the answer is yes, then the board is regarded as a beneficial ownership and can be declared. So now the responses of the two questions will guide any company in the filing its BO information in the CIPC correctly. Now on this slide is that a non-affected company with beneficial ownership to declare. First one is mostly applicable category. B, beneficial ownership, that is definition applied or declared. And then we also have complex ownership structures, which include a disclosure form. And then fourthly, filing securities / members register mandatory. Non-profit company without members, they only list the directors. Affected companies, whether BO or not, we have public companies, your state-owned companies, applicable private companies, as we explained, those private companies that are actually controlled by the affected companies. No beneficial ownership declared on the functionality itself, not exempted from declaration. Fifth one, filing of beneficial interest register is mandatory. Non-affected companies without any beneficial ownership to declare. One, very rare, but does exist. Secondly, we have sole shareholders, sole directors without any other influence, control, profit sharing agreements, or persons deriving a benefit from the company. And then thirdly, we have what you call filing of security register, which is mandatory. Now, let's just look at the beneficial register objectives. So what are the objectives? First one is have a register of natural persons who ultimately owns or exercise effective control over legal entities. So the second one is to bring South Africa, in line with the international best practice. Also removal from FATF grade listing, as you are aware that the South Africa is on a grade listing by FATF. Thirdly, to provide the law enforcement agencies with an accurate, credible, and verifiable register of beneficial ownership of entities. And then fourthly, is to assist law enforcement with relevant information when it comes to their investigation of who the ultimate owners of the entity, and to hold such persons accountable, and to mitigate, the risk identified in the national risk assessment, where legal persons and identified as vehicles, prone to abuse for money laundering and terror financing activities. So these are just the objectives, of beneficial ownership. So now, as we proceed, can an entity file a beneficial declaration more than once in a year? These are some of the questions, that are raised, with our unit. Is that the legislation dictates that entities must file a beneficial declaration at least once annually. So it means every year, then you are actually required, to file a beneficial ownership. But also dictates that the security register of a company, which includes a beneficial ownership, must be kept up to date, and any change amendment must be filed with the Commission within 10 business days from the date on which the change occurred. The other question is that how do you delete or amend an existing beneficial ownership declaration? So beneficial declarations cannot be deleted, and it is a criminal offense to provide false or misleading information to the Commission. However, should be information change, such changes must be filed via an amendment whereby information can be amended, deleted, added, etc. So, the original information persists, in our data history. So now the question can be asked, what is the mandate? So a mandate is a compulsory document wherein the declaring a company mandate, or the filer, which is the natural person, to submit its beneficial ownership declaration. So the content of the mandate is the letter or resolution or the power of attorney, the declaring company letterhead, the mandate of to individual, natural person, and then signed by the the 50% plus of all directors or close cooperation members. So in other words is that they it must be in the form of a letter or a resolution, and then this mandate, as I'm explaining, that it must be on a company or close corporation letterhead of the declaring entity. And then it just also to show, or it gives the permission, for to the filer, that it can or she can file this mandate or BO, beneficial ownership, on behalf of the company. Then we also have security register. That every company and external company must keep a security register. That 50% of the Section 50 of the Companies Act at all times of issued securities, which may include beneficial interest holders and beneficial owners. Now, a non-profit company without members, submission of director register and beneficial ownership information. Non-profit companies with members, only the members register. So these are some of the information that is actually required in terms of this beneficial ownership. So we also have beneficial interest. Beneficial interest, when is used in relation to a company security, means the right or entitlement of a person through ownership or agreement, relationship, or otherwise alone or together with any person, to receive or participate in any distribution in respect of the company as securities. Secondly, exercise or cost to be exercised in the ordinary course, any of all of the rights, attaching to the company's securities, or dispose or direct the disposition of the company's securities of any part of the distribution in respect of the securities. So this one is the content of a beneficial interest register in terms of regulation 32A. Is the natural person must have these full names, ID, if it's or passport, country of issue, juristic person, full names, and the registration number, business, and the residential postal address, email, extent of beneficial interest in terms of issued securities, control in terms of the Section 56 of the Act, and then this closure form is not mandatory. So complex owner structures, organograms, CIPC may at any time require or cause the verification of information and documentation in terms of Regulation 5's subsection 2. Now, a question is, does a trust declare beneficial ownership with the CIPC? Now, trust, although is regarded as juristic person, are not registered with CIPC, but with the Master of High Court, and therefore must declare beneficial ownership in terms of trust with the Master's office. However, in instances where a trust is the owner, member of CC shareholder company, in terms of a declaring company, the natural person of this trust must be declared. That is, trustees, control beneficiaries, or ownership. So it must be declared with a CIPC. So now, just a simple question is that now, before you file a beneficial ownership, you need to ascertain whether a company is affected or whether a company is non-affected without a beneficial ownership, or whether a company is non-affected with a beneficial ownership. So now the question is that what documents do I need for beneficial ownership declaration? So one is a member security register, and then the second one is the mandate. And then we also have a beneficial interest register, where is applicable. But for SMMEs, we need the mandate and the security register. So, and then thirdly, the filer must have a certified ID or smart copy, which will be uploaded at the time when you file a beneficial ownership with CIPC. So now the secondly is that we actually provided examples of the security register, the example of mandate on our website. So you can visit our website. On the bottom of our homepage, then you select the step-by-step guides. Once you select the step-by-step guides, then you see beneficial ownership. So you see this example. There's no specific, template for the mandate or the security register, but we just, provided this information, to assist you, to make it easier for our customers, to complete this mandate. So now this brings me to the end of my presentation. But going forward, we'll have this kind of, engagement next week, and then the other week, the whole of March, we'll have this engagement on beneficial ownership. So if your questions are not answered, you may also send your questions to a beneficial ownership email, and then you can check the email address on our chat box, or you can also visit our website to check the email where you can actually send your questions, and then our officials will be of assistance when it comes to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of my presentation. I'm not quite sure if any one of our, officials here, or Miss Lucinda Steenkamp, if you have any comments that you want to make before the close of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity. I have been tending to some of the queries in the comments section. What I just wanted to add from our side is that in order for any company to file beneficial ownership correctly and successfully, you need to answer those two questions as part of the presentation, which states, one, ascertain whether a company is an affected company or not, and apply those examples that have been provided as a type of checklist. Is my company a public company? Yes or no? Is my company a state-owned company? Yes or no? If the answer is yes to any of those questions on the affected company definition, then the category of affected company is selected and you can proceed with the filing as an affected company. If all of the questions in terms of an affected company is no, then the company is not an affected company and you are left with the two categories, with or without beneficial ownership for non-affected companies. That is then the second step, where you apply the definition for beneficial owner. Is there persons, natural persons, that has control over the voting interest within the company? Yes or no? Is there a person that is named in the MOI of my company with the power to appoint and remove directors? Yes or no? So apply it as a type of checklist, and you will be able to ascertain first what category is applicable, and then second, whether there's beneficial owners to declare or not. And that then you can just access the step-by-step guides as published on the website. There's a step-by-step guide, extensive for each category. So it will provide you with step-by-step guidance on the category that you selected for your declaration. It provides you with guidance on the mandatory documentation that must be submitted, why it needs to be submitted, as well as the legislative requirements. And there's also on the BO register platform detailed guidance in the margin to guide you in the process. Should you have, there's also templates, example templates published on the website for beneficial ownership to give you an example of what the mandate needs to look like, what the securities register needs to look like, and what the beneficial interest register needs to look like. So you can utilize those template examples. And if there is really anything that is unclear after you have accessed the step-by-step guides and there's anything unclear, then you are fully welcome to submit an inquiry to the Beneficial Ownership Inquiries mailbox, which is Beneficial Ownership Inc., ENQ, at cipc.co.za, and the team will tend to your queries in that regard. I need to stress, however, as well, that we cannot, as CIPC, provide you with specific scenario guidance on the filing of your beneficial ownership. Governance remains the responsibility of every company, and we have simplified it as much as possible. The step-by-step guides are complete and extensive to guide you every step of the way, where to click, what information to submit, why we need that information, how old must the information be, when you need to file again, etc. So use those step-by-step guides and utilize the templates that we've published for you as well, and you will have no problem in successfully filing the beneficial ownership declaration for your company. And that's it from me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Lucinda, and then also Rosani. And then this brings us to the end of this webinar. And then thank you to our customers, and then have a wonderful day further. Thank you and bye-bye.